Grateful for you all being here today with us. We understand being busy parents ourselves, or just having busy lives, even if you don't have kids on there too, on how your time and how your energy is so precious. But I can promise you tonight, with over 10 years of guiding people on this, that we want to make this a true wealth and life experience for you that will be so interactive throughout. And of course, the topic of this is how couples may be able to retire earlier through tax strategies and life alignment, with several visuals throughout today.
Yeah, so go ahead and get comfortable, whatever that looks like. Grab a cup of coffee or tea like we have, sit in a couch, on a bed, whatever that looks like for you, and get ready to enjoy a different financial experience.
Because we've taught hundreds of classes in person, but we know not everyone can go to a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Not everyone can go to a Tuesday evening, but you still deserve to have excellent information with stunning visuals here as well, so that you could also learn all these tactics that we've been teaching for so many years also. So we're going to go ahead and here and start here tonight. And again, we're so grateful that you can join us with us. And if we have little snafus throughout, that's what happens when you're doing these live recordings on here, right? Because again, we're real people. So again, right, who are we, right? Well, again, my name here is David Lundberg. I am a co-founder of Awaken Financial Designs. It's our own RIA that we created. I do have 2 master's degrees, a certificate in financial planning, and I've been guiding people since 2015, and I'm also a Marine veteran.
Yeah, and I'm Ashley Lundberg. I'm also co-founder of Awaken Financial Designs. I too have my master's degree in business leadership, and I'm a financial educator and wellness coach. And something unique about us is that we are pranayama certified and yoga certified as well.
Yep, and we are also a flat fee only financial planning firm. So we don't do any kind of asset under management or AUM fees or percentages on there, just flat fee, transparent pricing. But we want to give you this amazing information here tonight. So now when we're working with couples, they may have a child, they may have several kids, or maybe you have no kids at all, which is completely fine too. And if you are an individual that's joined us here tonight, this information can still apply as well. We just specialize in helping out with couples as our main kind of people we are. But our whole thing, as you could tell kind of as images, we're all about mindfulness, right? We love the beauty of nature here as well ourselves. That's why you'll see images throughout here that have the nature elements, that have that Zen elements in there too. But it's of course about that planning element. It's about bringing everything here together.
Yeah, and it's the real question that we all want to know is, can we actually retire earlier? And if so, what does that look like?
So that's what we're exploring here tonight. Now, this big image coming on the screen here might go, what is this? Someone breathing, nostril breathing. Ashley, can you tell them what that image is and what's kind of going on?
Yeah. So as we mentioned earlier, we're all about that meditation and that breath work and reducing stress. So we're going to take a moment here to do a nostril breathing exercise. And really the purpose of nostril breathing is that it helps calm the mind, balance the body, and really enhances that focus, because you're going to be learning a lot, maybe some new information, maybe some information you already know, but we want to take these next seconds to just truly connect with ourselves.
Yeah, and there's a lot of medical and scientific data proving how the power of the breath helps out on that mind and body connection. And these are things we've taught in all of our in-person events and our in-person classes, as well as here online. So if you want to go ahead and follow along, we'll do a brief example on here. Then we'll go ahead and get into all the financial investing and tax items here as well. So I'm going to talk through, and Ashley's going to kind of demonstrate. But again, this is nostril breathing. So what we want to do is first, we're going to close that left nostril with your hand, kind of like Ashley's doing on here. We're just going to do 3 breaths in through that nose. So in and out. Just 3 nice and slow. In and out. In and out. Now close that right nostril. Now you have your other nostril, 3 deep ones in that nostril. In and out. In and out. In and out. Open both nostrils. 3 breaths in and out, in and out. This third one, nice deep one. Deep, 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 deep. Pause. Now we're going to hold it for 20, 17, 15. Continue to hold that breath if you can. 12. Keep holding if you can. 9. You're almost there. Keep it going. 6. Keep going. You're almost there. 3, 2, 1, release. Return back to your normal breathing. But ideally, you want to do that 10 times in the left, 10 times in the right. And then you want to do that session in the end there. Repeat the whole thing 3 times. But this is the first time many people have experienced breathing techniques or breath work on here as well, but it can be so powerful because many couples might spend years optimizing money while they sacrifice their energy, their health, their presence, and their time together. And breath is one thing you can incorporate into your own life in addition to the investing taxes as well.
Yes.
Now you're going to see here coming up on the screen, we do have a quick little poll on here. We would just love to value your feedback. We just like to know, how did you enjoy this little session? And was breathwork the first time you have on here? And if you want that little box to go away, you can just close the box out or simply answer the question. We so greatly appreciate it as well. Now, Ashley, who is this for tonight?
Yeah, so tonight is designed for two kinds of couples. So both career active. So you're both working, you have crazy busy lives. And then the other one is one high income earner. So somebody that does work, a high income earning job, and somebody doesn't, but that's what tonight's designed for.
Yeah, so again, as Ash was saying on here, right, whether you're two working people on there, one working person, maybe you have kid or kids, maybe you don't on here, but this is for those people who value time and freedom, who value wellness and wealth, and who value that freedom and that clarity of virtual too. So you can do this anywhere at any time. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's on here? So what are we going to be exploring tonight? What are we going to be showing you, right? It's not just accounts and retirement numbers, but how the pieces of life and attention planning, they fit together. Actually, what are some key topics here?
Yeah, so the key topics that we're going to do is the accounts and tax strategies, right? That many couples overlook, because this is, believe it or not, extremely important. How retirement timing, healthcare, Social Security, and taxes may interact all together. What that coordinated planning may reveal about that flexibility and future possibilities, and how a one-time visual can help you stop guessing and start seeing the bigger picture.
Yep, so let's take our first image on here, right? Now, Ashley, what are the two big questions that people really ask us and the two big questions people want to see?
Yeah, so obviously it's when can we retire and how much can we have each month to spend?
Yeah, and our big thing is on taxes, and it's net of taxes. So the money you actually get to spend after taxes taken out, your federal, your city, your own state you're in, Social Security, Medicare, whatever it might be. We're going to get tonight. But as Ashley was saying, how much money can we spend each month, each year, and how long will that money last? Where you put that together in your comprehensive plan, we're going to be going over that taxable brokerage account, that Roth IRA, the IRA, and the 401k, the HSA, the health savings account, and protections to give you true alignment of wealth and life and the freedom that you'd love to have as well. Now, we also know throughout this, right, not everyone's going to be able to retire earlier, right? And we've had several people that are not able to, but they got that clarity and they got that awareness. We've had some, we could tell them, you can quit next week. Some you can do in 2 years, but it's about having that awareness and having that clarity here as well.
That peace of mind to really just see for yourself if this is possible. And if not, like David said, that's perfectly fine, but at least giving you that clarity.
Now, again, this class tonight was designed to give you a true experience. We respect your time and your energy, hence the breath work at the beginning. And we got a little special treat halfway through here as well, and another enhanced wellness activity too. Now, those small decisions we've always heard repeated over time quietly shape your future, right? It's that compounding effect, right? And of course, too, if you're in your 30s or 40s, you have a lot more time before you hit your 50s and 60s. If you're in your 50s, right, you still have some years you can be proactive. Now, if you're already in your 60s, as an example, time is not much on your side, but these tactics tonight can still help you applied to enhance that retirement too. And it's about where that money's saved, where is it layered, how that money is utilized, the account types going over, taxes, healthcare, and so much more, so we can help alleviate that stress. Ashley, what's kind of this image here?
Yeah, so this is an image that talks about Josh and Sarah's retirement options and how they different ages, right? When they decide to retire can determine what they have to spend. So they retire at 53, at 56, and then at 60, and what that looks like.
And these are visual images, and everyone loves a visual I have out here. You know, we can do these 20, 30, 40-page plans on there that have the details, which we're going over, but we want to give someone a visual plan on here, as Ashley was saying, that says, hey, we're 50 right now. If we retired at 53 or 56, or the one in purple there says with Roth IRA conversions, and we do go over Roth IRA conversions later on in here. We show you visuals on Roth IRA conversions, or at 60, but it's giving you that simple yet powerful visuals like this and so much more.
So most couples are not missing the effort. They're missing that coordination and integration. So as you can tell, it's just really about that intentional planning and understanding that clarity. And so most couples we meet are already doing the right things. They're working, they're investing, they're building a life and family together, but they still feel unsure on when that actually becomes possible for them to retire. So they need that greater clarity and awareness.
Yeah, and a lot of people in general, right, when you're in your 40s, you're not thinking about retirement.
Right.
However, we have helped a number of people in the late 30s, a number of people even in their mid 50s as well, giving them that guidance and giving them that clarity so they just know, or even people in their mid 50s, right, to help them retire on here. So there's no perfect answer, but we can promise you throughout tonight what you will learn and see you can apply to your own life in a number of ways.
So tonight you may leave with something more valuable than financial strategy. You may leave with that clarity and alignment. So really the most important thing is just looking at your own selves and what's possible for you and seeing how that works.
Yeah, because you have to be mindful, of course, of what matters to you.
Right.
Mindful of what matters to both you on there as well, and mindful of your own life. Now, let's go ahead and get into the actual what is going on here in this full picture. Spend a few moments here on this chart. But of course, you might have seen some of this, you might have heard some of this, but not everyone has that are working together on there. But we got our first box is that taxable brokerage account, which is often not talked about a lot. And that is our freedom account.
Yeah.
That's the account we can access before 59 and a half. There's no additional fees or penalties for accessing on there. It's the account that also has what's called long-term capital gains tax, which we'll go over later on here. It also has the step up in basis at time of death for that estate planning, that legacy planning, and that tax planning when you pass away for your spouse and or your kids or those heirs or whoever might be on there. Then we also have the more common one, the tax deferred. Yeah. That's the most common. Right. Your IRA, your 401k account. You might get a tax deduction when the money goes in on there. That money grows tax-free, but when the money is taken out, it is taxed as income. And that money from that 401k or IRA before certain ages, which we'll go over later, does have additional fees that can apply. Then we have the Roth IRA. Again, a lot of people are familiar with that. You pay tax the money on the way in. When you take out qualified withdrawals in the future, that money can be tax-free. But again, there is also an age to be aware of that does have fees involved. We want to be aware of that well. Then we have the HSA, the Health Savings Account, which is triple tax advantage. We're going to go into more later on here, how that can help support healthcare, especially before Medicare kicking in at 65 and how that money can be utilized. It's so important as well. So these are the four main tax layers we want tonight. There are 5 in total on here and how you can apply these. So let's get into more on each one on here.
So flexibility may matter more than most couples realize. So the different account types, they may create the different levels of the access before retirement age. I know David just discussed this, the tax flexibility, the healthcare impacts, but the goal is often not just growth. It's about that flexibility, that coordination, and making sure that it all fits together.
It's that awareness yet again, and that clarity of understanding that not just one piece is best, not just two are best. They're all really good to have. Right. You should understand how you can use them, how you can apply them, and how they're best served on there as well. Now, again, that flexibility account, right? That taxable brokerage account that gets so overlooked. Right, we do have our cost basis, meaning the money you put in, that was already taxed. So if you take out that cost basis in the future, it's tax-free.
Right.
Then we have short-term capital gains. If you held, say, that stock or ETF or mutual fund for less than 12 months, and if you sold it for a gain, that is taxed as income. But if you held it for longer than 1 full year and it has a gain, you get the more favorable long-term capital gains taxes, which we're going to look at here in a moment, which can help out with the overall taxes. Not to mention that when you pass away, depending how you structure it, you can get a step up in basis. So if you had $1 million in gains, and I died here today, I left that to my wife, it gets a step up in basis, she gets that entire $1 million gain tax-free given to her, so we want to be aware of that. Now, let's get into the long-term capital gains. Now, really quick, this is federal, so be aware of the own state that you do live in, whether it's Arizona, whether it's North Carolina, or anywhere else in the country. Check your own state for how they tax long-term capital gains. But tonight, let's go over the federal side on here. You can see there's 3 main brackets. There's 0%, 15%, and 20%. Now, tonight we're looking at married filing jointly. There is single or individual dollar amounts as well, but married filing jointly. Well, if all of our combined income we had, so that does count your W-2 income, it does count money from the IRA distributions, but if all of that together was less than $98,899, you would have 0% on the long-term capital gains. If you had $98,000 up to $600,000 in change, of long-term capital gains, that would be taxed only at 15% on there. So you can see if we structure this right, you could get qualified Roth IRA money, you could get some IRA money using a standard deduction, and that some money with that long-term capital gains taxes paying 0% tax potentially on the long-term capital gains portion of here, which is why understanding taxes is so important.
So important. So if you plan to leave money for your spouse or your children, then you have to know this, because this is super important, because I know it's something that maybe you don't like discussing, but it is extremely important. But when the accounts are treated very differently when they pass to your beneficiaries. So the inherited traditional IRA, inherited Roth IRA, and inherited taxable.
Yeah, we always talk about trust, which we do a lot of that. I was talking about wills and beneficiaries, right? But you have to understand, well, how do they get the money? What happens to that money? And as Ashley was saying on there, there's the inherited IRA, which, and let's say an example, if my spouse received that, she's still going to be taxed on that money. It still is an IRA as inherited. So when she takes money out of the account, she's taxed with that. And not to mention, if you are married and that spouse dies, you go from a married filing status bracket to an individual tax bracket, which does cost more. Now, you also want to be aware of the inherited Roth IRA. She gets that as well. She takes out qualified withdrawals from an inherited Roth IRA. There's no tax to her.
Right.
So that can help her out in a better tax situation. Then there's the inherited taxable, that taxable brokerage account, which gets that step up in basis. So there is no tax that is on there on those gains. And it's also the only account that doesn't force you on when you have to take it out. The inherited Roth IRA and inherited IRA typically have a 10-year rule. You must deplete that inheritance, whereas the taxable one does not. And again, check your own state. Your states can be different too.
So we kind of mentioned this briefly, but there's the 5 income and tax layer that most couples never see working together. And this is where it kind of really hits, because using all of these together, that helps with the plan. So earned income, investment and brokerage, retirement accounts, Social Security, and estate protections.
So let's go more on here. Now, Ashley, what about the early access question here?
So this is retiring before 59 and a half, what that actually means. So the realities, the penalties, and the exceptions.
All right, so everyone's heard this 59 and a half rule, but in general, if you take out money from an IRA or 401k prior to that age, there's a 10% early withdrawal fee plus normal taxes. Now, there are some situations where there might be the rule of 55, but that's based on your own HR and your own employer plan, if it is allowed even, which would then let you take out money from that 401k, and there would be no 10% early withdrawal penalty, but there still is the taxes. There's also the 72T, which also can help avoid that 10% early withdrawal fee, but there are complications of setting that up there as well. So we have to be aware of that. And also the Roth IRA does have a fee prior to age 59 and a half. Now, mind you, your cost basis or contributions are already tax-free, but any growth of them potentially could have that 10% fee there as well. But again, that taxable brokerage account does not have that.
So for couples with RSUs or restricted stock units, bonuses, deferred comp, or variable income. So how these all interact with your broader, financial picture may matter more than most couples realize.
Yeah, exactly. If you do have restricted stock units, you have to be aware of those vesting schedules. You have to be aware too that when they vest, that is when you are taxed, not only when they are sold. So there's a number of people we help that do have RSUs. Maybe you do have deferred compensation. That has a lot of complexities to it as well. Or maybe you have stock equity, or you're a business owner too. These are all additional taxes and times you have to be aware of to put into the overall plan as well.
So this is your financial pictures, not static, right? Because things change, life happens, we can't predict life, but this is kind of just showing, your careers begin to grow. And if you have children, they may enter the picture. If you choose not to have children, that's perfectly fine too. Your income, responsibilities increase. Life becomes busier and more expensive, especially if you have children like us. And the children, they grow. They go to college or trade school or whatever. Then they become more independent. And then this is where you then start to pause and begin to think differently, because now you have time about time, health, freedom, and retirement.
Now, of course, the foundations we've talked about, those will stay the same. Now, your investments and how you choose to invest in those account types, that'll change along the way, which we always do as well. But understanding the foundations, whether Ashley said on there, you have a kid, you don't have kids, you're married, you're single, those foundations stays on there, but life changes. Your financial plan, have a solid foundation, and it can change along the way as well. Now, let's talk about Social Security benefits and healthcare awareness. Now, of course, Social Security looks at the highest 35 earning years on there. So you can still retire earlier as well. And you can always go to the ssa.gov. You can get your free report of your estimated Social Security benefits. They even have tools on there you could utilize as well for that greater awareness. Now, oftentimes, if they are married couples, oftentimes it's best to have one spouse claim at age 62, which is earlier, and have the other spouse wait until full retirement age, which is age 67, or even if you're not married on there, have one claim at the earlier age, one at the later age as well. Because again, there's what's called kind of the rule of 13, is kind of throw it out there, where it takes typically 13 years to break even from either age. So whether you claim it at 62 or you claim it at 67, it's 13 years from either age if you retired, because you're still pulling up money to live on, whether it's from the IRA, the Roth, the taxable. So if you can have money from Social Security at 62, help out, you can keep money longer. There's other buckets to be invested too, but Social Security benefit is great for awareness, even if you are retiring earlier.
And then this is the bridge most couples forget to plan, right? The healthcare before Medicare. That Medicare eligibility begins, like David said, around age 55 or 65, excuse me. Retiring earlier means creating that healthcare bridge plan. So really taking that into consideration.
Yeah, and that's just Medicare is at 65 on here. So one thing we always love doing is, right, you can go to healthcare.gov under the Affordable Care Act, healthcare.gov.
Super helpful.
We do this all the time. You can even see your free estimated payments you have to pay. No account login. You can go in there, put in your city, your state, your zip code. You can put in if you're married, if you're single, how much income you have, and it will show you, hey, here's your estimated amounts you have to pay. They have what's called a bronze, silver, and gold, depending on premium. And of course, as well, if you want to have that HSA accounts on there, which will go over here shortly, you want to have kind of that bronze plan that's in there. But why guess and wonder what healthcare costs? Go ahead and get your free estimation so you know that number in advance as well.
Absolutely. And one of the most overlooked tools, right, for healthcare and retirement flexibility, like David has been mentioning a couple of times, is that HSA may become far more than just a medical spending account. It does, like we said earlier, have that triple tax advantage.
Yeah, we got a whole YouTube video separately on just the HSA sign out here as well. But you're going to be with the high deductible plans, right? So it's medical plans, so it's bronze plans, right? You might be paying a less premium out of pocket, but it will have higher deductibles. But it does allow you to contribute to a health savings account. And it is that triple tax advantage. And you can take that money out for qualified withdrawals. The HSA, for example, you can even have an HSA account at Fidelity. Now, again, that's not the healthcare plan, but Fidelity has an HSA account you could utilize where you could invest that money if you want into stocks, into mutual funds, into ETFs. There's always risk with investment, but you can invest the HSA account. There's also ways you can use that for qualified medical expenses. And even after age 65, something different happens to the HSA account as well.
Yeah. So again, when all these pieces are visually seen together for the first time, this is where that clarity really hits, and where couples, realize that they are able to, do things, and they have that clarity that they didn't know that they had before.
Yeah, because again, it's a lot of pieces. This is a lot of information we're kind of putting out there with a lot of people, but it's to continue to showing you that these are all things you need to be aware of, and you need to consider how it fits in there. That way, you can save years of life. Maybe you can save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes and in planning as well, as we continue along the way to show you what these are and how these can work also here with you. Yet again, another great visual, because we love visuals here, right? And you got, again, at the center down there is your main plan, that wealth and life alignment. We're looking at that taxable brokerage account for that flexibility, for the short-term capital gains, but most importantly, that long-term capital gains, that Roth IRA on there, the IRA, the 401k, the HSA, your protections, your different investment strategies you have within those, Social Security benefits, but that all leads to us helping you answer those two big questions, which are,
when can I retire and how much can I spend?
Which is why we run so many projections, so you can see what happens if I retire at 54, 58, 60, 64. What happens at these different ages and these different amounts of money? That way you can visually see what that looks like in your own life and in your own plan.
Yeah. And so for many couples, this is right, that moment where the future begins feeling more possible after seeing it visually, on paper, and seeing what they're able to have. So before we continue, we just want to pause briefly again and do another power of breath, because most people spend the years thinking about the finances and they have that pressure and that stress. So we want to pause.
Yeah, so it's going to help out again with reducing stress, helps out improve cognition, the well-being, the overall mind and the body, and then we'll continue on to some more financial investing and wealth
Yes.
moments here as well.
So using the breath, as you can tell, is definitely like our own superpower, and it really helps us connect with ourselves. And as David mentioned, in our classes, we do a little bit of little breathing techniques. So this is one called box breathing. And the purpose of box breathing is it helps strengthen the mind and produce that clarity. So what we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and breathe in through the nose. Hold it at the top, out through the mouth, and then hold it. Beautiful. Now, ideally, what you want to do is go through about 6 to 8 cycles, but it's called box breathing because it's 4-part breath. So you're going to hold each breath for about 4 to 8 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and David's going to demonstrate. So breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, out, and hold it. Out through the mouth. Deep down, hold it. Beautiful. And ideally, again, you just want to go through this, but it really does help reduce the mind.
Yeah, so it's another great breath work that you can do on as well. And thank you, Ashley, so much. And tonight's main thing is to see if you brief examples of how these breathing techniques can work as well. So that Roth IRA is a huge portion all the time, and people are always asking, should I convert money to the Roth IRA? So something we do weekly.
Yes.
We have videos all over YouTube and case studies and examples as well. But the big question that people really should be asking, like on this image here, it is, when is our break-even point in years? Do I have to live 10 years, 15 years, 30 years? Is there ever a break-even point on where doing a Roth IRA conversions from taking that IRA or that 401k and converting it by paying taxes into that doesn't make sense? And also, what's our lifetime advantage, right? Over the course of your life, your city and your state and your federal taxes, how much money could you potentially save on taxes? Or how much more money might it cost you paying on taxes? Now, of course, no one knows exactly what tax rates are going to be in the future. So all the systems we use, it takes into account current tax rates on here, of course, to show you that on there. And there are so many times we tell people not to convert to a Roth IRA and tell them why.
Yeah.
We might tell them, hey, you might have to live at least 10 years, but by doing so, after those 10 years, you can start seeing tax savings. Not to mention there is the legacy and estate aspect of that, the money in that Roth IRA, when it is converted, it goes to that spouse or the heir or heirs tax-free. So when they take money out, that money is tax-free as well. But this could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. We've seen some that are even larger with $6 million plus in an IRA, costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars on there as well. So it's so important not to guess and not just assume or wonder, which is why part of our one-time planning process, we go into an in-depth analysis on Roth IRA conversions, several tax impacts. We show you all these here as well. That way you have that clarity and you have that awareness on what is the benefit of doing a Roth IRA conversion. Maybe you're younger too in your 30s and 40s and you wonder why. Maybe you're in your 50s and still working, or maybe you're in your 60s and you're wondering about that Roth IRA conversion. But what's the biggest thing you think on the visuals here?
I mean, I love it because you can truly see your break-even point. So when the lines intersect, that's your break-even point. If there's no intersection, then you don't even have one.
Yep, so again, there are many charts to this and variables to this. And a lot of times there's the human element that has to wonder, that we tell people all the time, is saying, you know what, how does this make you feel? How would this make you feel? Because there's sometimes as planners, right, the numbers may or may not make sense. Or sometimes the numbers might even be like a teeter-totter. And I have to go, well, you know what? Here's my viewpoint, but you have to now pick what makes sense for you and your spouse or you and your own self on how these feelings are, because feelings and your own beliefs do matter, which numbers can't always explain.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and moving on here now to our next one on here. What is a common misconception?
Financial clarity is not only for people with millions, right? People somehow think that, I can't do this because I don't have $1 million. And that is not true. Some of the most meaningful planning decisions happen years before retirement, while life is still busy and careers are still active, options are still open. And that's why it's so important to at least have that clarity and awareness.
Yeah. And that's why we created our own RIA firm here.
Yeah.
And that's why we created our
So we
own
can
flat
help.
fee advising only. And that's why we even don't have asset under management percentages fees either on here too. So we can offer those one-time flat fee plans. That way people can get all these amazing visuals you've seen tonight. People can get a 40-page document almost. I mean, it's about 30 pages, give or take, right? You get the point, right? We break down all taxes. It shows you a tax order withdrawal, where to pull money out of on there. We can even review, hey, if you're having $30,000 or $40,000 a year that you could save and invest, maybe we put it into different taxable buckets. Maybe you're nearing retirement on there. Social Security benefit optimization, the beneficiaries, the trust. I mean, so much more goes into these one-time plans. Now, people then go, well, what happens if, say, in a year or two, I want to do a checkup? We do offer those future life planning and checkup changes. That way we can review that one-time plan. Because life happens. Right now, people go, what about ongoing? Well, some people might want ongoing. And if they do want their securities or investments actually managed on there, we do offer ongoing plans. Depending on the state you particularly live in, we can always go over that with you here and more into as well. But a big thing is that one-time flat fee plan to give you all of these insights, answer all your questions, and so much more.
And who do we help most? Well, we work best with couples who are often in their late 30s through the early 50s, balancing their careers, having children, increasing complex financial lives. They want that clearer, coordinated picture, and they want that visualization of that one-time plan to show, hey, those two questions, and get that better understanding and that clarity and alignment.
Yeah, so it's always for people, as Ashley was saying earlier, right, that want those visuals. They don't want all the stress. They don't want all the fear. They don't want to be guessing anymore or wondering anymore. They still want to have someone that is a high-end experienced financial planner, that is certified, that has credentials, that has helped hundreds of people like our team and I have here as well, but to still give you that same level of excellent service, but from people who resonate with you and people who align with you and people who get it here as well.
Yeah, so for couples seeking that greater clarity, that intentionality and coordinated planning, the next step may be simply scheduling a conversation with us.
Yeah, and when you schedule a conversation with us, with this link here, it's on the screen here as well, or it's over here in the chats here as well, you actually get Ashley and I both. And, you know, we're real people. We are parents too. So if you need a weekend, a Saturday or Sunday, let us know. If you need to have a weeknight for a schedule, let us know here as well. We are flexible with that overall. And it is a free, there's no obligation, there's no cost on here whatsoever on here to you, but it's to help find out more about you. You can ask us more questions as well. We can decide potentially if we're a good fit, how we can best help you, and so much more.
And we do it virtual too. So it is a virtual Zoom session. So we get that personal feel. But of course, if you need to make it a phone call, just let us know.
Yeah, and of course, we're, again, all about that mindfulness. We want you to have that peace. We want you to have that clarity. No more guessing, no more wondering. Even if you are younger here as well, maybe it's about tax savings or tax implications on there, and it's giving you that clarity. And we really hope, too, you enjoyed the breath work tonight. You know,
from the different, right?
We had the nostril breathing in the beginning, and then we had
the box breathing.
Right, and those are just two powerful breath work techniques
you can do anytime
of so many. But we put these in our client emails. We put these in our emails, got there in videos as well, to help you out overall with that. Now, again, this whole thing is educational only, not financial, tax, or legal advice. We have to leave our legal disclaimers up here for a few seconds. But again, we are so grateful for you being here tonight. We truly hope you've enjoyed this experience here tonight. We'd love to hear your comments or your feedback, and most importantly, share it with other people, as we will be having different webinar sessions here in the future too.